You got to sit there in the best seats in the house. I'm curious, from that seat, how did you feel the night went, and what was your impression of the contest we saw tonight?
It's amazing. It's great that UFC put on a platform, an event to showcase the best grapplers in the world. Because grappling, submission wrestling, jiu-jitsu, whatever you call it, it's a specialty in itself. It's very different than mixed martial art, and it's great. I'm very happy to participate to this, trying to bring the sport to a bigger audience.
You mentioned the word participate. You were meant to be competing tonight. When you were there, was there a little bit like, damn, I should be in there, I should be rolling?
No, because I hurt my shoulder, and everything happened for a reason. I think I was, I'm 42 years old, and when I was, it's like mentally I can't disconnect from the fact that when I'm competing, I become someone else. I'm extremely competitive, and sometimes I forgot that I'm 42 years old, and I don't give myself enough rest, and that's why I think I partially tear my labrum, my subscap, and my rotator cuff, but my shoulder is getting better, and we'll see how it goes.
The intention is still to compete in grappling.
We'll see how I recuperate from it, because it depends how it's gonna heal. And I'm afraid that I'm afraid sometimes it leaves a scar, or a chronic problem, and I don't want that to happen. I want to make sure I heal 100% right before getting back into high-level training.
Yeah. The talk was it would be you and old friend Nick Diaz if it was to happen. If the healing goes okay and you feel comfortable, would you like to just rebook that and go ahead with that?
Yeah, we'll see. Things is constantly moving. I know Nick, I guess he's probably looking for a comeback in MMA too. The universe is constantly moving, and I'm aware that I cannot put everything on pause. Someone cannot put everything on pause and waiting, and I have to do another test, because there is a big deficit between the strength of my two shoulders where I got hurt, and now I'm gonna make another test to see if that deficit gap have shrink, and if it has shrink, that means I probably will avoid a surgery. If it did not shrink, I will probably need a surgery. So there's still a lot of question mark, but to tell you subjectively how I feel it's getting better every day. That's how I feel.
Last one for me. Now, this sport is an interesting one, the world of MMA, and sometimes these rumors can start. Recently Dana White said that there's a super fight in 2024 coming up. Can you tell us if you would be a part of that super fight?
Absolutely not.
You promise?
I promise you. I
swear on dinosaurs.
No. I always told myself that I would not fight in a cage after the age of 40. I don't say I will never compete in any combat sport event, but I fight in a cage professionally in a serious thing for my legacy. I will not do it. There is something that I care more about my legacy is my health, and I think it's sad because a lot of athletes in combat sport, actually most of them, retire too late. And I think it's a shame a little bit, because they tarnish not only their legacy, they tarnish their health. I think it's important for an athlete to prepare their retirement early before they retire. So when they retire, they know where to go, to do something out of their life.
Thank you.
Just one off of that question. Since you're not going to be in that super fight, do you have any idea of what kind of super fight you'd like to see?
I would like to see. Oh, it's a good question. For UFC 300, right? Well, there's a lot of variable. There's a lot of guys I like to watch fight. Obviously, John Jones is one of my favorite. He got hurt. It's unfortunate. I like to see Usman, Chimaev. I like to see Adesanya. I like to see Makhachev. McGregor is another one I would like. Volkanovski is another one. There's a lot of guys I love to see fights, maybe doing super fights in between them in something like that. I'm sure UFC have a better idea than I do.
Put them all in the cage and see who comes out alive?
Royal Rumble. Why not?
Thank you.
Hey, George. There was also a report that there was talks of Khabib and you competing, but Khabib had priced himself out. Craig Jones said that he was asking for $5 million. Can you confirm, was there ever a conversation between you and Khabib to...
No, it was
grapple?
only speculation. I never had any formal conversation about it. I'm sure it's a fantasy that a lot of people had because we never had to fight in mixed martial arts, so they thought maybe, they're going to compete in grappling. But no, I never had any formal offers or anything like this. You know, the thing is, if I may, I train not because I have an upcoming fight. I train because that's the way I like to live. You know, it's very therapeutic for me to be in good shape. It affects not only my health but also my confidence. It makes me a better person. You know what I mean? And people sometimes, they see athletes after they retire, they get fat, they get out of shape, but that's never going to be my case because until the day I can do it, I will always try to be as in the best shape I can. But that doesn't mean I train because I'm preparing a fight. You know, I know that's the thing that most people make the mistake. They think I'm getting ready for something, and I don't. I really just train because I like to be in good shape. You know, it makes me a better person. It makes me feel better in my own skin.
Who wins next week between Leon Edwards and Colby Covington?
Well, I'm a little bit biased because I'm friend with Leon Edwards, and I sent him a text yesterday. I wish him the best of luck. I mean, it's going to be a tough fight, though. Covington definitely got all the skills to win that fight, but I believe Leon will win. I believe Leon is better.
And then finally, for me, obviously, since you left the sport, Canada's been kind of dried up, and there isn't a big Canada star. I guess, is there anybody that you see right now that can maybe be the next, you know, obviously not the next GSP because there's only one GSP, but like someone next from Canada that can kind of step out?
I think they could be better fighters than me out there. I was just very fortunate that when I was competing, I had the chance to have incredible trainers, but also incredible training partners. I had David Loiseau, Patrick Côté, Dennis Kang, Rory McDonald. So I had a freaking all-star team with me at the time. I was not alone. So we were all training and exchanging ideas and technique. And it feels sometimes that now in Canada, it's sad because they all train themselves in different gyms and they don't exchange in between themselves. And in Canada, it's a big country, but we're not a lot of people. So in order to be competitive against the world, we need to train with each other. And it's something that I believe it's missing right now in Canada. I believe that's what I had at the time. I reached out to all the elite fighter in the country at the time. And I even though some of them didn't like each other, I tell them, I say, you don't need to like each other. Let's train at least once a week to meet every Friday to spar. And it was competitive, very competitive, but it was not malicious. And I think that's one of the things that we did that helped us get better and be competitive in the international level. And it's something I think maybe it's missing in Canada right now. Everybody wants to do things for themselves and they see their neighbors as their competitor. They are competitors, but in a way, if you mix it up, it will makes you better because the benefits that you both gonna gain from that training is something that the outside will not get. You know what I mean? And that's my belief. That's one of the things that it could be improved in Canada.
Thank you.
Just one for me. You were talking about legacy, and you talk about wanting to see Jones fight. Dana says he wants Jones to sit back and wait for the Stipe fight. You know, they put on an interim belt, you know, and you got the interim guy wanting to fight Jones for it. What do you think is right next for Jones? Would you like to see him hold out for Stipe, or what are your thoughts on interim belts and all that, and what do you think should be next?
Whoever is going to fight next, I'm just a big fan. I love to see the best guy fighting, you know, because when they fight, I like to watch them because they all have something special, you know, and I can learn from them, you know. Even though I don't compete anymore, I like to watch them to learn. You know, in martial art, it's a constant evolution. You know, my physical ability might diminish now because I'm past my physical prime, but my knowledge will always increase. And one way that you can increase your knowledge is by watching someone perform, and I like to watch John Jones because he's just the best at what he does. I like to watch Usman, Shimaev. I like to watch them, to watch all the best guys, so I can learn from them.
But do you think that it's right for him to wait until that fight against Stipe, or would you like to see the division move forward and see the interim belt get?
Well, it depends on which perspective you're asking me. If you ask me from the perspective of a fan, I would like to see him fight whoever's on top. If you ask me from the perspective of John Jones, what is best for him, you have to ask a question: what does he have to gain, and the pros and cons, the risk versus the reward. What is best for him. Because the career of an athlete, it's not a straight line. Sometimes it comes down to the decision that he makes. And some guys were very talented, maybe more talented than others, but they didn't make the right decision for their career, so they crash, Because one loss can affect your entire legacy, one mistake. And it can happen in a blink of an eye, very fast. So it's very important that you make the right decision.
Thanks for coming back here.
George, right here. You talked about legacy and also the importance of it, but more importantly, your health. Going back to your shoulder, obviously shoulder injuries are very tough. For you, being very competitive, how hard is it to not only try to prove to yourself, like, oh, I still got it and I can still get better, but at the same time not trying to compromise your health, like with the shoulder and everything? Because the shoulder is, to some people, they may not realize like a labral tear like that, or dealing with the rotator cuff is tough like that.
Yeah, that's one thing. I mean, it's easy to say, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. But once you put your mind into it and it's official, something switch in my mind and I become someone else because I'm extremely competitive. And that thing that I'm talking about is also the same thing that makes me have a lot of success, because I was at that switch. And if I don't have that switch, I feel I'm not going to perform as well as I do. But now my life has changed since when I was in my prime. I'm not the same person I was. I have other responsibility. So I need to reassess and take the good decision. Once I get better and 100%.
Obviously, the training changes after you start going from pro, and now you're just in this retired stage. For you, how have you changed not only your mentality but how you approach your training daily?
I still, to this day, always train for mixed martial art because that's what I do. Of course, if I will compete in grappling, I would say a few months ahead of time, I will specialize my training more for grappling. If I would go in striking, I would specialize into striking. That's hypothetically what I would do. But if you talk about my weekly routine, I do all kinds of martial arts, as much as striking and grappling. For me, it's important to be versatile.
Gotcha. Thank you.